Only 40% of children survive to reproductive age. That's 15 years old. Think about that for a moment. 6 out of 10 kids would die before they ever had a chance to have children of their own. Compare that to today's 99% survival rate, and you'll realize just how brutal life was for our ancestors 2.8 million years ago. But here's what's really going to blow your mind. There's one secret about these ancient ancestors that scientists only discovered recently. Something so shocking, it changes everything we thought we knew about human evolution. And I'm going to reveal it at the end of this video. Welcome to the world of our earliest ancestors. I'm about to share 5 mind-blowing facts about human life 2.8 million years ago that will completely change how you think about survival, evolution, and just how good we have it today. First, let's talk numbers. These weren't the towering humans you might imagine. The average height? Just 4 to 4.6 feet tall. That's shorter than most 10-year-olds today. Adult males maxed out at about 5 feet, while females were typically under 4'3". And their weight? A mere 66 to 100 pounds. That's lighter than the average American 12-year-old. Imagine trying to survive in a world full of saber-toothed cats and massive hyenas when you're the size of a middle schooler. But here's the real kicker. Their brain size was only 400 to 500 cubic centimeters. That's 1/3 the size of a modern human brain, smaller than some of today's great apes. Yet somehow, with these tiny brains, they managed to create sophisticated tools and survive in one of the most dangerous environments Earth has ever seen. Now, let's talk about the ultimate statistic, lifespan. The average life expectancy was just 18 to 25 years, not because they were weak, but because life was a constant battle for survival. Picture this. You're born into a world where 60% of children die before their 5th birthday. Disease, starvation, predators, accidents, death lurked around every corner. If you were lucky enough to survive to 15, you might live to see 40 or 50, but that was a big if. Every single day was a fight for survival. No hospitals, no medicine, no safety nets. A broken bone could mean death. A severe cut could lead to infection and death. Even childbirth was a gamble, with a 25% maternal mortality rate. Every 4th birth meant losing either the mother or the baby. The global population, estimates suggest only 10,000 to 50,000 individuals existed on the entire planet. To put that in perspective, that's fewer people than a sold-out baseball stadium. The entire human species could fit into a large concert venue. Population growth was glacially slow, maybe 0.001% per year. At that rate, it would take 70,000 years for the population to double. Compare that to today's 0.7% annual growth rate, and you realize how precarious human existence really was. Now, let's talk about food, or rather, the lack of it. Our ancestors consumed only 800 to 1,200 calories per day. That's half of what modern humans need to function properly. Imagine being hungry all the time. That was normal life. They spent 6 to 8 hours every single day just searching for food. That's 40% of their waking hours dedicated to not starving to death. And it wasn't like they could just grab a snack from the fridge. Going 2 to 3 days without food was routine. Your great times a million grandmother knew what it felt like to have an empty stomach gnawing at her insides for days on end. When they did find food, it was often raw meat from scavenged carcasses, bitter roots, or tough plant matter that took hours to chew. No seasoning, no cooking techniques, no variety. Just whatever they could find to keep their tiny bodies alive another day. But here's where it gets incredible. Despite having brains 1/3 the size of ours, these ancestors were remarkably sophisticated. They created stone tools so sharp they rivaled modern surgical instruments. They didn't just randomly bang rocks together. They carefully selected specific types of stone, sometimes traveling miles to find the perfect material. They had mental maps of their territory spanning hundreds of square miles and could navigate using stars, wind patterns, and subtle environmental cues. Their social structure was surprisingly complex. They had specialized roles. Some focused on tool-making, others on hunting, and still others on childcare. They developed sophisticated communication systems using gestures, facial expressions, and primitive vocalizations. Think about it. With brains the size of a large orange, they figured out how to control fire, cook food, and pass down knowledge to the next generation. Every technique, every survival skill had to be perfectly executed because there was no room for error. Perhaps most remarkably, these tiny, short-lived ancestors began one of the greatest journeys in Earth's history. They started migrating out of Africa, adapting to completely new environments across thousands of miles. Imagine groups of 20 to 30 individuals, each about the size of a modern child, walking across continents with no maps, no GPS, no idea what lay ahead. They crossed deserts, mountains, and rivers, adapting to climates they'd never experienced. They developed new tools for new environments, learned to hunt different animals, and figured out which local plants were safe to eat. All of this with their tiny brains and constant hunger, while maintaining their social bonds and caring for their young. The next time you complain about your Wi-Fi being slow or your coffee getting cold, remember this. You are the descendant of the most resilient, adaptable, and determined survivors in Earth's history. But now, here's that mind-blowing secret I promised you earlier. Recent DNA analysis has revealed something absolutely shocking. Your ancestors 2.8 million years ago had the same capacity for love, grief, and emotional intelligence as you do today. Despite their tiny brains, they mourned their dead, cared for disabled tribe members, and showed compassion that would make modern humans proud. Archaeological evidence shows they buried their dead with flowers, cared for elderly individuals who couldn't contribute to survival, and even supported tribe members with severe disabilities for decades. With all their struggles, the hunger, the constant danger, the heartbreak of losing 6 out of 10 children, they still found the humanity to love each other unconditionally. You didn't just inherit their resilience, you inherited their capacity for love. And that, my friends, is the most shocking truth of all.